Okay, Carol, thank you so much. And good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tom Rixey. I'm the Managing Director of LTC Partners and excited about the kickoff to Long-Term Care Insurance Awareness Month. Not as excited about the snow behind me. I'm in Michigan talking right now, but I'm happy to be kicking off this presentation. We've got a lot of great speakers, and the LCT has been a great organization doing these education events. And what I'd like to do is talk about the topic of don't be afraid of too many choices. So, one of the scariest things I can think of is getting a cold and walking into the pharmacy and trying to decide between all the different cold medications out there. You're probably wandering through, you're not feeling that great. You're going, do I have this stuff at home already? Is there some new medication that was just removed from the marketplace? How does zinc work? Do I have to take a lot of vitamin C? All this stuff. And I think what a lot of people will do is they'll talk to the pharmacist and say, hey, if you were in my position, had a cold, what would you do? And I feel in long-term care insurance, sometime in long-term care planning, we're kind of in a similar situation at this point. We have so many great options out there. And these are just some of them. And the nice thing about today's presentations is we're going to hear from a lot of different presenters with a lot of things. And these are just solutions that I picked out that are more of the long-term care insurance or chronic illness variety that are medically underwritten. And you can see how many different forms they take nowadays. Traditional long-term care insurance, short-term care plans, hybrid life insurance with long-term care, hybrid annuities with LTC insurance. There's a medically underwritten immediate annuity that can be used to pay for long-term care riders on permanent life products, and then chronic illness riders on life insurance products that can either have an upfront charge or a benefit that is at time of claim. So it's overwhelming, the amount of this. And so advisors and financial professionals are faced with some difficult decisions. Do they kind of quarterback and represent all these different options? Do they pick one product and specialize in that? Do they partner with somebody else? It's not easy. But if you go through a systematic way of approaching it, I think you'll find you can narrow down the options for a particular client and come up with some good recommendations. So that's what I'd like to talk about today, is kind of a framework to do that. And this framework really is starting from the perspective that you've already had a conversation with a client and they have decided, maybe self-funding the cost of care or not planning is not in their wheelhouse. They really want to take a look at long-term care insurance or other products that are going to pay for extended care. And if they are in that position, at that point, I think the three steps you have to kind of go through are health underwriting considerations, product benefit considerations, and funding considerations. And I do them in this order as well. And I'll tell you why as we go through the presentation today. But the first thing is really health considerations, because that's how these products are built and priced. They're built to get a good pool of healthy people, or predictable, knowing the health of a client so they know what is going to be available to pay for care. So it's almost important. I know I do this personally whenever I'm working with an advisor, to say, before we make any recommendations on a particular product, we really need to get a baseline of what that client's health is at this point. And we'll talk a little bit about different ways to do that. But once you get that information, you can then narrow down some of those product options we looked at before to help you out. So as an example, let's say somebody is currently receiving care or ready to go into a nursing home, but they need care right now. Maybe they're in a nursing home. There actually are plans that will pay for those type of clients. They're medically underwritten immediate care annuities. So because someone's life expectancy will be less if they're very ill, these will pay a higher monthly benefit. They're very popular in the United Kingdom, and they are now available. In the same way, at an older age, hybrid annuity long-term care plans that can take an annuity benefit and maybe double or triple it for long-term care needs are available as well. And both of these products have been helped by the more historically normal interest rate environment. In the fact of example for the hybrid annuity long-term care plans, now the rider cost will actually be less than often the interest crediting rate, which means that the overall policy value can grow over time in addition. So I think that's why these products are getting increased interest, and that's important. Cognitive issues are really one of the biggest claim, if not the biggest claim issues with long-term care insurance. So having products that can help out with people who might have cognitive issues are important. And again, these products, the immediate care annuity or the hybrid annuity long-term care plans, they may not offer, increased benefits for long-term care, but they may take amounts of credit at a higher rate based on cognitive issues. For people who are young and healthy, that's the best time to look at long-term care planning. That's when there's more choices: traditional, hybrid, life, long-term care plans, plans with acceleration riders. However, not everybody is going to be either uninsurable or perfectly healthy. And for situations where people might have more severe health issues or chronic health issues, you've got some opportunities here. One example might be somebody who works for a company and is being offered a guaranteed issue group life long-term care offering. That might be a great opportunity for them to look at a plan. For people who don't need care for a long period of time, sometimes the short-term care plans have different underwriting than longer care plans that are out there. And then again, the hybrid annuity long-term care plans can help out. And finally, there's been a lot of progress made in the application process. So for people who are looking for a simple, fast application process, there's opportunities there. So the health consideration is the first thing I would take a look at. Next are product considerations. So some of the product features people may want to look at include things like automatic inflation protection. Products that the benefits inflate over time, and you know what they're going to be at age 85, for example, when a lot of people need care. If that's important, and often people who have had personal experience with a family member who's needed care, they know what it costs and what it may cost. I unfortunately had that experience with my mom this year, and I know when I have a plan, I want automatic inflation so that it builds up to a significant level of benefit when I may need care when I'm older. Cash long-term care benefits are also an important option for people. And there's certain products that offer those cash long-term care benefits where you don't have to be reimbursed by a particular care provider. You can get cash and have more flexibility in who's taking care of the care. People who want catastrophic coverage, unlimited lifetime coverage, there's some options there. If it's a couple, and there's lots of ways to define a couple nowadays, there are great options too for long-term care insurance, including more products that are survivorship, life-based products that you can combine for long-term care needs. And finally, there's some people who may say, hey, I think I do want to self-insure for this or self-fund my plan. There's options that have benefits tied to market or investment returns so that people can say, hey, I'm going to grow my benefit over time with the inflation, with the market returns. I've got a long time horizon, investment horizon, but I also want some floors out there that say, I know I'll get at least this amount of care in the future. There's products that happen with that. Now, this list of features could go on for a little bit, but these are some of the most important features and will help narrow down the choices of products out there. Finally, funding considerations. So this is another area that people need to think about. How are they going to pay for the plan? It might be that they have some good income and they want to pay annual premiums. They want to pay affordable annual premiums. And I put some different options that are some of the best options for paying affordable annual premiums. So we're seeing an increase in, for example, the hybrid life long-term care to have extended pay periods beyond the singular 10 pay to lifetime pay or pay to 95 or pay to 100, options for that. A lot of guaranteed issue group life LTC plans can be paid on a monthly basis, short-term care plans. But there's other people who say, I don't want to pay annually. I've got an asset. I've got some CDs. I want to reposition some asset, not give up a whole lot on the interest rate return, but have that really generous long-term care benefit. That's where an asset-based product or a single premium may fit. And you can see some of the different products that are single premium products. If they're a small business owner and they want to get the tax breaks that are available with tax qualified long-term care insurance policies and riders, I think the best options would include the traditional or hybrid plans that break out that long-term care premium so it can be deductible. Often people can use HSA money for this as well. So there's a lot of a good opportunity for small business owners. 1035 exchanges, Pension Protection Act, allows people to get money out of annuities tax-free by converting to a PPA compliant annuity long-term care plan. And there's other ways, a lot of flexibility in the way 1035 exchanges can work for products. And finally, for someone who might have a lot of qualified money, there's solutions that carriers have provided that can distribute those qualified distributions that help pay for a substantial long-term care plan. So funding considerations are kind of the third thing that people can take into mind. And finally, you've got the carrier. You've got to narrow it down. Once you've got a product solution, you've got to narrow down that carrier and don't look simply just at the premiums that are out there. Of course, we know things like claims paying reputation, financial stability, the customer service experience of the company, how a carrier does with in-force servicing of policyholders and application process time. These are things that people who work with a variety of different companies can give you insight into. And specifically, I wanted to focus on the claims paying reputation because that's where the rubber meets the road and the most important thing that could happen out of these policies. There are differences in the way carriers have handled it. And I think as this product line becomes more mature and more carriers are paying claims, you're going to see continued differentiation in how they handle that. And so ask around, what companies have a good reputation for claim paying? What carriers have not been as easy to work with when you're initiating a claim? So that's a real key consideration. All of this is really a lot of work, but help is on the way. So there's a lot of tools that can help out the process. On the health underwriting side, there is progress being made, but one of the best things you can do is use one of the online health screens that often are available from different brokerage general agents or carriers in order to get that health information up front. Some technology vendors also offer underwriting filters. So you can look at certain height and weight, for example, and they can screen out what carriers might be fits within those criteria. So the online health screens have been really helpful, and I think those will continue to improve. Product comparison tools. We recommend the product such as Living Benefit Review, which can show you, which of the hybrid products work at different ages. So there's a good way to narrow down those things as well. There's some comparative quote engines. Insight, WinFlex has been around for a long time. Insight has recently added hybrid products to their comparison platform, and they're getting better. For funding considerations, a lot of the financial service professionals do have relationships with their clients, so they've got an idea of where the ability to fund plans might be coming from. There's client surveys as well that can occur. And finally, wrapping it up, the recommendation presentation tools. I think that's where you're seeing a lot of interest in what AI chat is doing. They're really taking maybe an illustration or a story of a numbers and helping you organize a story around a particular recommendation. And I think that's where you're going to see a lot of new exciting vendors coming out with presentation tools, because we know the complexity of offering a huge illustration to somebody and having them go through that. Ideally, you would have one product recommendation, or you might have, two choices that people can make. And I think that if you can make sure you're recommending it from that perspective, you're going to be in good shape. And so this 3-step process of looking at, the health underwriting, what product features are really important to someone, and then how to fund it, can help you narrow down the choices of product features. And then you can dig deeper to find a particular carrier recommendation and have the best possible chance of ultimately getting that product placed and a solution in place for that family. So with that, that concludes my presentation today. Looking forward to all the other speakers today. Happy Halloween, everyone. And Jamie, whenever you are ready, you can take over.